We have a more constructive view of India. I mean, obviously the country has quite some issues. It's very complicated. It's also not very united. You know, you have to pass through every state. They have several different regulations and taxes and so forth. So these are known issues. But the whole point is that we do think that Mr. Modi or the new government, or generally the Indian state and the political environment there is moving towards resolving these issues in the long term. So I think the potential is there. That's one thing. The other thing is that it is a much more a consumer-driven economy. So in a sense, it's there where China would like to be in a few years, of course, on a much different level. That means that in the current environment where you have no commodity boom, or you have exactly the opposite, I would say. You had a bear market in commodities, and perhaps it'll stabilize. But it's a world that benefits consuming economy, service economy, and India is one of the few emerging markets that fits that picture. So even though I would agree that recently we've seen a slowdown in political momentum, reform momentum, some issues, and some of the bad things of India, or the bad images of India, are resurfacing again, we think that's more of a short-term thing, and we remain hopeful that over the longer term it's still a very interesting
They are at a very different stage, aren't they? Because now, you know, today we've been talking about Singles Day and how people are going nuts in China, buying all kinds of gadgets, and they're moving up on the on the acquisition chain, and what kind of goodies that they have their sights on. In India, one of the biggest news items in the consumer space this week has been noodles. Did you hear about that? You know, Maggie, the 2-minute Maggie noodles, which makes up like a third of Nestle's sales in India, are now back on the market after that, that lead testing scare, which tells you that we're talking about staples in this market, which provide the bulk of consumption right now, right?
Of course, it's a completely different market, but as I said, it's also. I mean, in a sense, it has elements from what you normally see in the developed world, which is a services-led kind of post-industrial economy without them ever having been an industrial economy.
Right.
So but it's certainly different. You just have to, you're looking at a different opportunity set. And of course, the macro, there are phases where it benefits countries like India, and other phases where it benefits more countries like China, or let's say, export-driven or investment-oriented, industrial-type investment-oriented countries, but we're not in that stage at this moment.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point there. Yeah, it looks like in some ways they might even skip the whole industrial era in India, right?
That would be an optimistic view, but I guess it's not impossible for some states. Yes, of course.
Okay.